With a firing taking place in WWE and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. When asked if Cody Rhodes would have been a top star in WCW in 1996, Eric Bischoff told WrestleBinge everything in WCW was different in 96. Honestly, it's hard to say what I would have done back then. But man, the NWO was so strong and so hot, and all of the focus was on the NWO for a good year and a half or 2 years. I think it would have been hard for me to put anybody ahead of the NWO at that time. So Cody Rhodes would have still been a very important part of Nitro, but I don't think he would have been so important that he would have gotten more attention, if you will, on television than the NWO because it was just too hot. On the Kick Rocks podcast, Bischoff touched on the current presentation in WWE of Bray Wyatt, as he said, "That's one of those I'm just going to watch and see where it goes. That's some really bizarre stuff. The character and presentation, first of all, it's cool as hell, but I don't know how to relate to it. What do I want from that character? Do I want him to emerge as a hero? Maybe an anti-hero? Do I want him to be a bad guy? I don't know what I want him to be. I'm just looking at him going, wow, that's pretty cool." On the MMA Hour, Jake Paul said this about possibly joining WWE with his brother Logan. "We'll see. I'm down. I just don't want to get injured. My brother tore his MCL. It's crazy out there. So I just don't want it to derail my boxing and all of that, but I'm down. I love WWE. I love working with my brother. So that would definitely be something that could be on the horizon for sure. We always take everything we do very seriously and want to excel at it. That's just how the Pauls do it. Whatever it is we set our mind to and get involved in, we want to be the best at it." On his Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross said this about Steve Austin not having a high-profile feud with Hulk Hogan. Austin didn't want to work with him. It was the wrong place at the wrong time. There was a time in both of their careers when that match should have been the dream match. The two biggest stars in the last 2 generations of wrestling fighting each other. But again, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Hogan, but all truth be known, he should not even have been in a ring because he couldn't get it done anymore. Talking on Busted Open Radio about her status for the Showcase of the Immortals, Beth Phoenix said, "I'll be at WrestleMania. I'm sure Edge will be factored and featured in. I'll be there to enjoy. Whatever it is, I can say with all my heart, he and I don't look too far ahead. We don't have any plans. This is going to be the retirement. We're just taking it one day at a time. When these little opportunities pop up, we're just like, hell yeah. We don't know what tomorrow brings, and our kids are old enough now that they can process mom and dad squeezing this for every last drop. That's fun. It's been really fun to do this as a family. They're in elementary school, so the kids know what our jobs are and they're watching the match." When asked about his interest in being a manager in pro wrestling, Ric Flair said this on his podcast, "Absolutely for AEW or WWE, but they won't, because I'm too good at what I do, even at my age. I'm not talking about being a producer, not being a writer. I don't mean that. I'm talking about if they gave me a microphone and they let me have at it. I mean, you tell me." Unfortunately, it seems an AEW star is out with an injury as Fuego del Sol took to Twitter writing, "Okay, so last Sunday while in Sacramento, a freak accident happened after I hit a drop kick where another guy fell on top of my right foot. Initially, I thought it was broken. As I got up, I felt sharp pain shoot up my foot and realized it was incredibly painful to put any weight on the toe of my foot. After assessing the situation, I changed some things around and managed to finish the match, and when I got to the back, it had already swollen up pretty bad. After flying home and then managing to drive 2 hours home, somehow I got it x-rayed and found out I actually dislocated it, but somewhere in finishing the match, I unknowingly popped it back in. There is a small fracture at the bottom of my big toe, but they said I'm lucky it wasn't worse. Not in the clear yet though, because now I must get a CAT scan on my foot tomorrow to determine if there is any ligament damage. If there is no damage, I'm looking at a 5 to 6 week recovery, but if there is damage, then it could be up to 3 months. I'm devastated that I cannot fully fulfill my AEW obligations or obligations to Rugged Pro in Omaha this weekend and to VIP Wrestling on March 10th. However, I plan to still appear at both shows in some capacity. Needing good vibes sent my way so I don't have to miss out on any more of my obligations. I'm a workhorse and am very good at compartmentalizing and working around this small injury. I'll still be in the gym as well as doing seminars, posting content, and streaming consistently. A boot and some crutches won't slow me down or dampen my positivity. I'll keep you all updated on my scan results. Keep your opinions on my unpedicured feet to yourselves. Reacting to his match against Vince McMahon from last year's WrestleMania, Pat McAfee wrote on Twitter, "Well, me and Vince McMahon's match at WrestleMania has officially been named Worst Non-Sanctioned Match of the Year. The old man was much stronger than anybody could have imagined. Caught me off guard quite a bit, and I was cheap-shotted to start it all. Fun fact, the first time Steve gave Vince a stunner was in 1997. I was 10 years old. From a working-class community, and it made me fall in love with the business. Wonder if it would be magical to get one last by God in Stone Cold state. But how do we get there? Oh, he has to abuse his power a little bit. Oh. When I was invited back in the ring, I thought I was going to get to celebrate Stone Cold finally ending the run with Vince. The common beer-drinking employee has finally put the old power-abusing billionaire boss away. I was living a dream whilst they wrapped, in my opinion, the greatest / most impactful storyline in the history of wrestling. But never trust the Texas rattlesnake, Pat. My brain may have been used during the planning of all of this, so I appreciate the award, obviously. I'm not a movie guy. I didn't watch shows. I don't play video games. From an entertainment standpoint, football and wrestling are literally the only two things I've ever consistently watched and loved for my whole life. Cheers to you all. I'll remember that night in Jerry World forever." What? With Matt Riddle having been away from WWE programming for months now, Ringside News has given an update on a potential comeback writing. For fans hoping for Matt Riddle's WWE return, we were told that his name will not be discussed by creative until Talent Relations informs them that Riddle is once again a character they can pitch for. Explaining WWE's reasoning for not having Sami Zayn defeat Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, it was said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the argument was that the ratings Zayn is drawing are in conjunction with being linked with the bloodline, and would he draw television viewers away from the storyline? But the argument is that they could do that, and the storyline continues, particularly with the Usos and Sikoa, along with Reigns now trying to eliminate Zayn, which should be the storyline now as well. The Zayn story, coming off losing to Johnny Knoxville last year, has been a gigantic success. It's noted that Bloodline are still the top merchandise sellers, and Rhodes is very hot as well. There was definite fear of Sammy chants during the Rhodes promo on Raw in Ottawa, which is why they did the promo the way they did, with no downtime to allow chants to develop, which would have started the wrong momentum. But that didn't happen. The Rhodes Paul Heyman segment was flatter this week, but I don't sense it's anything to worry about. WrestleMania was guaranteed to be a major business success just based off the name and the current company momentum, no matter what the key matches end up being. But the hottest feud by far in Mania season is the Zayn program with Reigns. When it comes to WWE plans for Roman Reigns following WrestleMania 39, where he is set to defend his title against Cody Rhodes, Dave Meltzer said, "They are slowly building that match since Owens turned down joining with Zayn to take out the bloodline and told Zayn he should instead join with his best friend Jay. They did neither the Jay turn to cost Zayn the match, nor Owens and Zayn making up and hugging to end the show, because they feel delaying such things will keep the ratings strong. As far as if they will go back to Zayn or Zayn will win the title from Reigns or beat beat Reigns if Cody wins the title, nothing is certain past it is an option they could always go to. Right internally, the belief is that Reigns is the man and that's not changing, but that doesn't mean he has to be champion forever. The Rhodes storyline dictates he has to win the title at some point, and it's no longer a situation where Reigns has to stay unbeaten because of the mega match with The Rock. While Rock did not close the door on the idea for next year's schedule permitting, it's probably not worth banking on seriously for next year's plans. Speaking of the main events for WrestleMania, this was said by the Wrestling Observer about the feeling for the Night 1's marquee bout. Reigns vs. Rhodes is expected to headline the second night. There is no decision on the main event past an internal feeling that Charlotte Flair vs. Rhea Ripley now is the favorite. There is a push feeling for sponsors and political reasons. After men main evented both nights last year, it would be good for a women's match to headline, and the feeling Flair vs. Ripley is stronger than Bianca Belair vs. Asuka for the spot. If there is Usos versus Zayn and Kevin Owens, one would think that would be the other favorite. According to Sean Ross Sapp, WWE has let go of one of their employees, as it was noted that Fightful has learned that WWE Senior Vice President of Talent Operations and Strategy, James Kimball, is no longer with the company. We're told it was an HR violation terminated immediately last week. Kimball had been with the company for 2 years, working on the Next in Line program, among other things. He'd also spent 10 years with the UFC. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.